So, just want to welcome you all to our first strength training class with GoGo. We're so happy that you're here. We kicked off some classes, a class last week, and this is our first one for strength. And so we're so excited that you could join us today. You probably know about us, right? Since you are using GoGo, but just as a refresher, you might know us for things like rides and meals, groceries, prescription delivery. We even have home services now. And these are the types of services that you can access across the United States and in Canada. But now for the next few months, we're also making these Thursday exercise classes available to you. And so that's kind of a little bit part of what you can experience with GoGo. And so what I'd love to do now is just give you a quick overview of what we're going to do together today. I would love to introduce I'll introduce myself first. I'm Cassie. I'm GoGo's communications director, and we're really happy to have Adra with us. She's a yoga teacher, an occupational therapist, loves helping people feel their best, and she is helping us every Thursday at noon lead these classes. So last week we had chair yoga, this week we have strength training, and we'll just keep alternating every Thursday at noon Eastern. So very grateful to have her here. And we're just going to quickly go through some things you need to get started, and then we'll jump right into the strength training class. All right.
Hi, everybody. Great to see you here. So for our class today, we do need a chair or a couch, something that you can sit on periodically. And then if you have them, weights will be helpful. So if you don't have dumbbells, and I want really light, 1/2 pound to 3 pounds, or if you don't have any light weights, you can grab a can, just show the size of my weight. You can grab cans, water bottles. Also, you don't need to have weights. So we'll be doing movements several times. So you'll still feel your muscles working without weights if you're not feeling like that's something you want to do. So again, dumbbells, water bottles, cans, or nothing at all, and you'll have lots of options. Wall space will also be helpful. If you don't have wall space, then a table. So that's if we need some balancing room or something to lean against. So just making sure you're in an environment that feels free of any tripping hazards, and you have your chair handy. That's, I'd say, number one. Chair handy and no tripping hazards, and you'll be good to go. I would love to know if you haven't already put your name in the chat, you can stick it in there, or also just let me know if you've done strength training before. You can either come off mute and just let me know, yes, you've done a strength class before, or put it in the chat, yes, no. I just want to know where we're all coming from. Justin says, not really. And this class is going to be for everyone. A little, great. Yes, Cassie says yes. I have. Okay, great. Well, as you keep either throwing something in the chat, I'll chat a little bit more. I'll talk a little bit more. The goal here with our strength training is to increase or maintain function in your daily life. So it's not about getting super buff, although maybe you will get big muscles, but the goal is to be able to continue to do those maybe somewhat challenging things, or things that you might think might get challenging later in life. Like if you're lugging groceries, if you're walking to the grocery store and you're lugging 2 bags of heavy groceries, being able to carry those with ease up the stairs, increasing strength so that you could carry 5 stacks of dishes, plates, 5 stacks of plates without any challenges. So it's about creating a functional strength for just increased independence in life. So that's my goal when it comes to strength training. Anyone else want to share whether you've done training? There's that little chat bubble. Usually it's at the bottom of your screen if you want to click on that and just type in yes, no. Okay, well, you can keep adding to that. But here we have also on our screen our goal setting workout planner. So if you were here last week, we chatted about adding one movement goal to the week. And so if you were there last week, does anyone remember what that movement was? Twisting. Yes, Justin remembers. So twisting. So just rotating the spine was what we were trying to remember to do throughout the week. And we'll be doing some of that with our weights today, or without weights if you don't have them, to keep adding that to the goal. And we'll have one new exercise for you to continue to add on to your kind of daily goal. All right, well, if no one else wants to add anything, then we will get started.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and then you can take it away.
Okay, I have to take off my sweatshirt, get ready for all of this. All right, so go ahead and you can either do this seated. I'm going to do this standing, but you can be seated if that's more comfortable. We're just going to warm up the spine, warm up the body. So if you're standing, nice soft knees, you're going to open up the arms and open the chest. So you're stretching the front of the body. And then on your exhale, you're going to round your back, bring the backs of the hands to touch and tuck your pelvis under. So you're creating this C curve. So inhale, open up the chest, open up the arms, and then exhale, round. So we just want to make sure our spine is really warm before we add any weight or any strengthening. Inhale, open. And exhale, close and round. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round. Release your arms, straighten out the legs if you're standing, relax those shoulders, and you're going to begin to bend side to side. So again, you can do this seated, side bending, if standing is just not in the cards today. And just noticing how far to the side you go on one side compared to the other. You can sort of measure where your fingertips land on your leg. Noticing if you're rounding your back or if you're doing that pure side bend. Okay, and then coming to center, pausing, bending those knees if you're standing, just a small bend. I don't want your lower body to move. So same thing when you're seated, lower body stays stable. You're gonna take your arms into these goalpost cactus-like position and twist just your upper body. So noticing here how maybe the lower body wants to join. Can you keep that lower body really stable and move just the upper body? And the next time you're twisted to one direction, pause and hold. 2 deep breaths here. And then twist the other way, and again, pause and hold. And back to center, release, shake it out, shake it off. Okay, so now our spine is warm. Now we'll get into our arms and then our legs. So big circles here with your shoulders, big circles, one direction. You can move those elbows as well. And then circles go the other way. And then reach those arms out to the side into a T position. If your arms get tired, you can just lower them down, circle your wrists. So if we're going to be holding things, we want to make sure that our wrists are nice and awake. You can move those fingers around as you circle. Go ahead and go the other direction. Neck is relaxed. All right, releasing the hands down. Taking your legs, your feet about shoulder width apart. See if you can keep your feet pretty parallel. So they're facing forward. You're not turned out yet. So feet are facing forward. They're maybe 10-ish inches apart. You'll bend your knees and reach your arms forward as you inhale. So you're going into a squat. And then exhale, straighten the legs, lower the arms. So if this feels like you don't have the balance, it doesn't feel safe, then hands go to the back of the chair. So we inhale as we bend and exhale as we straighten. So warming up those legs. You decide how far you go. It can be a 1-inch bend. It can be a huge bend. It's whatever's safe on your body. So pain-free. There can be discomfort from the heat of the muscles working, but I don't want there to be pain in the joints. So only moving in a range that feels good to your body. Couple more times. Okay, and then coming back up to stand. Go ahead and find your chair if you don't have it, or a wall, or a table for balance. We will all want, most likely all want balance support here. Feet, again, are parallel, but go ahead and take them closer together, like 4 inches apart, approximately. So feet are parallel, about 4 inches apart, fingertips on your chair. We'll do some heel lifts to wake up those ankles. So as you inhale, lifting up onto your tippy toes. And then exhale with control, lowering down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, back down. So keep going here at your own pace. A couple more times. Okay, and then next time the heels are down, stay down. Lift one leg up. So you can keep balancing here. We're balancing on one leg. If that doesn't feel good, keep the leg very low. Circle your ankle. You can also do the seated, stretch one leg forward, circle the ankle, circle the other way. And releasing the foot and switching sides. So again, balancing if that feels okay, lifting one leg up and circling the ankle. It's really important before we do any strength training that your body is warm and ready to move through all of these ranges of motion. Circle the other direction. Because once we add weight or more repetitions, we just want to make sure our body is safe. Great, and releasing the foot. Keeping one leg forward, go ahead and slide one leg back behind you. We have 2 straight legs. So just sliding the leg back a couple of feet, maybe 1 to 3 feet, depending. And then bending those elbows, so hands could be on that table, wall, chair. Bending those elbows and leaning forward. So getting some stretch in the back of that front leg. You might also feel some stretch in your back leg as well. Go ahead and bend your front knee for a moment and then straighten it. So we're just bending and straightening now that front leg, warming up the leg. So bending the front knee and straightening. And it's up to you how far forward you go, right? Just some people are super flexible and you can go low. Some of us are going to be much higher up. Just bend and straighten. Okay. Next time your knee is bent, pause. Step forward and we'll switch sides. So standing on that other leg, slide your leg back. So just make sure you switch which leg is in front. Starting with straight legs as you just hinge forward from the hips. So it's not so much a back movement. It's not like rounding your back. You're coming from this crease here, sort of where your thigh bone meets your pelvis, and you're hinging from there. So your spine could easily stay in the same shape the entire time. There's a few deep breaths, noticing does this side feel tighter than the other, the same. Maybe you feel it in a different spot. And then we'll go back to that bend and straighten. So that front knee bends and then straightens. So upper body again is quiet. It's not doing anything. It's just there. A couple more times. Okay, bending that knee and stepping forward. All right, one last warm up before we get into the to more strength. You will be seated now, so finding your chair, unless you want to do sit-ups on the ground, flat on your back, then I'm going to do it on the chair. So sitting towards the edge of your chair, so you have plenty of room behind you. Because if you're back here, you're not going to have anywhere to go. Plenty of room behind you, crossing your arms in front of your body. Now the breathing here, I do want you to try and stay with the breath that I'm suggesting. It helps your core muscles engage with more ease, but it might feel like a brain teaser initially, but it is to help the core muscles work properly. So on your inhale, you're going to lean back. And again, you see it's not a back bend. My spine is staying the same shape. It's a hinge from my hips. And then on the exhale, sitting back up nice and tall. So you decide how far you go. Inhale, leaning back. Exhale, sitting up. So doing this hinge first. So seeing if you can do this. Starting with thinking about the breath. So you inhale back, exhale up. Once you have the breath, can you keep your spine that same shape? We'll do a rounded back version in a moment. So just a few more like this. Next time you're sitting tall, go ahead and pause. Now we'll do a rounded back version, so more of a sort of standard sit-up style. So same thing, you'll inhale, lean back, that can be flat back. And then exhale, as you sit up, you're going to crunch, round your back. We'll start with that. Inhale, leaning back. Exhale, round your back and come forward. Couple of those. If this is feeling like you want to add on, you'll add a march. So when you exhale and lean forward, you'll lift one knee towards the chest. Leg comes back down as you inhale back. Exhale, crunching. If you want, one knee lifts towards the chest. You might already feel like you're doing the workout, which is true. We are doing the workout now. Feeling free to add that coordination. Last one. And then making your way up, releasing your arms, shaking them out. And we are going to grab our weights. So you can grab your weights, your water bottles, your cans, or nothing at all. Give you a second to do that. I'm going to suggest that we do this standing, but again, if you want to do this seated, that's fine. It is upper body. So just make sure that you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, then sit so that you can focus on the upper body. But even if the focus is the upper body, noticing your body positioning. So letting your feet be parallel, 4 to 6 inches apart, noticing what your spine is doing. Can you get yourself centered? That you're not just sticking your ribs out, you're not rounding the back, that you're finding a nice neutral position. We're going into bicep curls. Let's flip the palms to face forward, and we'll bend those elbows, hands come towards the shoulders, and then back down all the way, full range. So nice control. Now, if you have really light weights and you're feeling like this is too easy, I want you to imagine, or if you have no weights, so either no weights or really light weights and you feel like you need more challenge, I want you to imagine that you are moving through something super sticky, super stiff, almost like you're moving through concrete that hasn't been set. So what? Wet concrete or peanut butter or water, something that creates that extra resistance. I don't want to see this plop down, right? Control through the entire range of motion. Couple more times. If you need breaks at any point, now or later, please take care of your body. Take those breaks. Okay, let's do 2 more. Nice control. Okay, and then relaxing those arms for a moment. We're going into overhead presses. I'm going to talk about it for a minute here. I'm going to show you. So we'll have our arms out to the side, kind of W-like shape. So you don't have to be right at that 90-degree, 90-90. You can lower down. And then you're going to push your arms overhead. If you go, oh my gosh, this is so heavy, get rid of the weights. It's plenty of work without the weights. And then bending those elbows. Now, looking at my ribcage here for a second, this is what we want to avoid. So we're not doing this. Right now, I'm no longer using my arms so much, I'm using my spine. So again, I'm going to show you what we don't want. This, none of this. I would prefer you get rid of your weights so that you can reach your arms overhead without changing your rib cage. Because the moment you move into the rib cage, you're not actually working those arms so much, you're moving that spine. So go ahead and play with that, pressing up and down and just noticing, are other parts of the body doing the work? And this is hard, especially, so at least for me, those bicep curls are much easier than this overhead push. So if it starts to feel like too much, get rid of those weights. Just doing the arms without the weights is plenty. If it feels like you really want to push that rib cage out, maybe go a little bit forward. So you don't need to go straight up overhead, go a little bit ahead of yourself, right? You want to honor whatever range of motion your shoulders have. We're looking at fitness for life, function for life. Doesn't matter how heavy the weights are. Okay, my shoulders are starting to burn, so let's just do 2 more. And release. Lowering those arms. If you'd like, you can put the weights down, maybe put them on a chair. Just watching your body when you put them down for a moment. So you're not rounding the back to put down your weights. You're bending your knees, doing a little bit of squat and putting the weights down. So the entire time is a workout. Not, the in-between moments are also a workout. Okay, you can just shake it off for a moment. In a second, we are going to do a combination, but we're going to do a few squats in between, give our legs a break. So feet shoulder width apart, you choose. Feet can be parallel or slightly turned out. You decide what feels good today. What is important is that your knees track your ankles or your middle toe. And by that, I mean that I don't want, you guys can see me, I don't want this. So if my toes are parallel or turned out, I don't want the knees knocking in. So that's what we're avoiding. We want those knees tracking that same line with the feet. All right, inhale, bend those knees, taking that squat. And then exhale, straightening those legs. We're going to add some arm movement without the weights for now. So we'll go super slow. Go into your squat and pause. Imagine that you're holding your weights. You're going to slowly straighten those legs and bring the hands to the shoulders, like you're doing your bicep curl. And then you're going to push your arms up to the ceiling. Bend your elbows back to the shoulders, bend the knees, and lower the arms. So it feels awkward when we go this slow. It'll feel more natural when we move faster, but we'll do it slowly again. Straighten those legs and bend your elbows, hands to the shoulders. Straighten the arms up to the sky. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, straighten the arms. We'll do it slowly one more time. Straighten the legs and bend the elbows. Straighten the arms up to the ceiling. Again, watch your rib cage. There's no need to pop the rib cage. Bend the elbows, bend the knees. Straighten the arms. All right, come to stand. Release that. If you want to add your weights, you may grab your weights. If you don't want to add your weights, you don't have to. Okay, bend those knees into your little squat. Straighten the legs and bend the elbows. Straighten the arms overhead. So now we're going straight overhead and not wide if possible. Or they can be slightly ahead. You see that? Because if I go further back, then the ribcage wants to come forward. Bend the elbows. Bend the knees and straighten the arms. So we do the legs and the arms at the same time now if you can. So you straighten the legs and bend the elbows. Straighten the arms overhead. Bend the elbows, bend the knees, straighten the arms. So I'm going to let you go ahead and play with this for a moment. See if you can string it together. Right? There are too many things happening at once for me to say all of them happening at the exact same time. But you're using those legs to help you lift the arms. There's nothing wrong with using momentum to help your body do something. If your upper body is getting tired and you want to do just your lower body, go for it. If your lower body is getting tired and you want to do just your upper body, go for it. Listening to your body. We'll just do 3 or 4 more. Taking as many breaks as you need. Okay, that's probably enough of that. Put those weights to the side again, being mindful of how you do that. Shake it off. Before we continue, just pausing for a moment. You can do this seated or standing. Close your eyes. And just notice where your body is at right now. What are you feeling? What are you experiencing in your body? Maybe your heart is racing a little bit. Maybe you feel some heat in the muscles. Maybe something else up entirely. Okay, now we're going to move into some torso work before we do more arms and legs. So finding those weights if you want them. Again, they're totally optional. And you're going to take them in front of you. You could have a water bottle again, or a can, or a book. A textbook might be actually a little hard to hold a book, but whatever you want to grab onto is fine. Bend your knees a little bit. And keep your lower body stable. So I don't want to see any shifting of the hips. So no shifting of the hips. So the hips stay really strong and stable. You're going to twist your upper body now that you have these weights. So keeping the weights close to your body is going to make it easier, more accessible for you. Be kind to yourself, so you decide what you want. If you want it to be a little more challenging, move those weights a little further from your body. Right, so close to the body is easier, a little further will be harder. There's more load, right? The lever gets bigger. And at the same time, you're trying to keep that lower body stable. You could even straighten those arms. That's tons of shoulder work with your core work, right? It's up to you. And if you have no weights, maybe the straight arm is the right one to do. You should be able to feel those abdominal muscles, those muscles of your torso as you rotate. A couple more times. Great. And coming back to center, releasing those arms down. Okay. So this is sort of like the warm up as well, except for now we have our weights. So weights on either side of the body. Knees can be soft. You're going to side bend to one side. Imagine that you're picking something up. You're picking something really heavy up. You're going to use that stretched outside. Those muscles are going to pull together on your exhale to come up. You'll inhale, side bend the other way, like you're reaching down, you go to pick up a really heavy bag, and then exhale, you're going to contract those elongated muscles to come up. So inhale, side bend. Imagine you're picking up something heavy, exhale, come up. Keep going. Right, so that imagination, that imagining that you're picking something up heavy will make those muscles work harder. So even if you have super light weights, right, our 1 to 3 pound weights are more appropriate generally for our arms, but the rest of the body can take a lot more weight. So then you really have to add that imagination, that thinking as if you were picking up something heavy. So you can train your body even without weights. Couple more times. Great, and letting that go. Taking a moment, just giving your body maybe a little shake. And then we'll put those weights to this side. We're gonna focus on our legs for a moment. I prefer you get rid of the weights initially, and then you can grab the weights after you've done this a few times and you decide that it feels safe and stable. So having your chair or wall nearby, I find that the wall is easier for this, but whatever you have is totally fine. Going into a lunge. So we'll keep our right leg forward, step your left leg back. Your right leg is forward, left leg is back. Your back heel is off the ground. If you're in socks, take off your socks so that you don't slip. If you're in sneakers, stay in your sneakers. So just no slipping. Hand on the wall or on your chair, and it can be on either side. It's whatever feels safe and stable. We're going to bend the knees. So we're creating a 90-ish degree bend in each leg. It doesn't actually matter. You could go all the way down, you could stay up, but we're bending both knees. And see how my body, the upper body is almost like an elevator. There's no bending in the upper body. It's staying straight up and down. The legs are what are moving the upper body. So the upper body stays stable now. That lower body bending and straightening. So if you go into this and go, oh, this is so easy, I want to grab weights. You can grab weights in your hands. Otherwise, you're just going to stay where you are. We'll add some breathing. Let's inhale on the way down. Exhale as you come up. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you come up. So the breath is there to help you. I like to say exhale on effort. So you exhale when it's more work. Couple more times. Thinking about really pushing those feet into the ground as you rise. So I'm starting to feel some heat in my legs, so hopefully you are too. Okay, next time your legs are straight, pause. We'll step forward and switch. Again, using the wall, using your chair for balance, for support, right? Being safe, sliding your right leg back. So now the left leg is forward. Take a moment to set yourself up. All 10 toes are facing forward. Your back heel is off the ground. We're going to bend those knees, creating that 90 degree or less. So we're bending and straightening, using that wall if you'd like. Using those weights if you'd like. Watching that your knees are tracking forward, that they're not knocking in or out. And we add the breath. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you come up. Keep going. We're almost there. Let's do 2 more. And when you're done, stepping forward, shake it off, maybe even rub your legs, give them a little bit of love for the work they're doing. Giving our legs a little break. We only have a couple more exercises, so we're going to work the backs of the arms next. Weights, again, are helpful, they're not necessary. We're going to do just one weight, so one hand at a time or one arm at a time. So I'll take the weight into the, actually since I'm facing you, I'm going to do weight into the left hand. Find your chair. You're going to lean forward. And again, you're watching that I'm not rounding from the back to make this happen. I'm hinging from the hips, leaning forward, and then your free hand, the right hand, can either go to the chair, can also go to your table, can also go to the back of the chair. All right, so wherever you can hold on, wherever feels safe. Right, I'm quite pretty flexible, so it's easier for me to bring my hand down to the chair, but if that bend doesn't feel good, hands to the back of the chair, totally fine. Knees can be bent. So lower body is not the focus, but we want to maintain that really nice alignment. So from there, free arm, left arm, we're going to bend the elbow. So it reaches up towards the ceiling, but you're not twisting your entire body, right? So it's not a twist. The body stays facing down. You're bending the elbow. So it goes up to the sky without moving the upper body, without twisting. And then straighten your arm back behind you. So a tricep kick back. We'll bend that elbow and lower the hand down. All right, bend the elbow towards the sky. Straighten the arm, bend and lower. Keep going. So a couple of things here. If you don't have weight, just imagine you're carrying something heavy or you're pushing something heavy. If you have weight and you're not feeling this, it's probably because your elbow is too low. So as you straighten your arm, make sure your elbow stays at that height. So you bend, elbows up to the sky, you keep it there as you straighten. Because if you lower your elbow as you straighten the arm, then you will not get as much tricep work. You'll also feel work between the shoulder blades. Just do maybe 2 more. And then when you're ready, releasing that weight, putting it down, coming up. So whichever arm you just worked, so I worked my left arm, but whichever arm you just worked, we're going to reach it up overhead, bend the elbow, and grab a hold of it. So stretching out that muscle we just worked. Couple of deep breaths. And release. And now we have to do those kickbacks on the other side. So again, free hand comes to your chair, your table, wherever you'd like. You're trying not to find rounding in the back, so the back stays pretty flat. We bend the elbow, elbow goes up towards the sky. We maintain that low position as we straighten the arm, oh boy, triceps, and then bend and lower. And again, you don't need to do this with weights. If you don't have weights, grab a can, grab a water bottle, or imagine that you're picking something up that's heavy. Push through mud, push through peanut butter, push through wet concrete. Jaws relaxed. Let's do a few more. You can always take breaks. You can always move faster. You can always move slower. Make this work for you. Okay, releasing that. Shaking it off. We are going to sit in our chair in a moment. So if you have your weights on your chair, go find another safe place to put them. Just be mindful of your body wherever you put them. So don't, if you're putting them on the ground, bend those knees, do a squat. None of this. That's where you might hurt your back. We're not sitting in the chair quite yet. Have your chair ready for you. Come in front of the chair. So last week, if you were in yoga, we did twisting as our kind of exercise of the week. So our exercise of the week today, starting today, are squats. So setting yourself up right in front of your chairs. Eventually, you're going to squat into your chair. Your knees are facing forward. Your toes are facing forward. Feet are about shoulder width apart. We inhale, bend the knees. Arms can reach forward to counterbalance the weight of your hips. And then exhale, stand tall. Let's just do two more. Inhale, bend those knees, getting down close to that chair. Maybe your hips just barely graze the chair, and then coming up. This is a great way to do squats. It's safe because if you lose your balance, you sit into the chair. Bend those knees, coming all the way down, maybe grazing the chair, and up. This next one, you're going to sit all the way down. Bend those knees, sit all the way down into your chair. All right, so pausing here with your spine long. Take a moment. Let's bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Stretch out the side of the neck. Shoulders are relaxed. Switching sides, other ear to shoulder. Shoulders relaxed. And then head back to center. Let's place one hand on the heart and one on the belly. Close the eyes or soften the gaze to the ground. And take a moment to feel your breath, to sense your breath within your torso. It is so important that after you do any kind of training, that you take a few moments to slow down and integrate. There's plenty of research on that even after a really intense workout, just a couple of minutes of breathing and slowing down helps you recover faster. So a few deep breaths, feeling the movement of your breath in your chest and in your belly. Letting the jaw soften, letting the muscles of the face soften. And then from this quiet and calm space, take a moment to really acknowledge yourself, to thank yourself for showing up, to take care of your mind and your body, and for showing up for the GoGo communities so we can all be here encouraging each other together to grow. Take one more deep breath, fill those lungs. Exhale out the mouth, let it all go. When you're ready, release those arms and open up the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear about how this went for you. If you have questions, we can even review certain exercises if you're feeling like something just didn't click. So maybe share with me how your body is feeling. Thank you, Julia. Nice session. Are there any areas that maybe felt like they were extra hard? So for me, those tricep kickbacks, oh my gosh, those felt challenging. Oh, thank you, Annette. Very helpful. Thanks. So I definitely want to know if something didn't feel good too, because then we can problem solve together to come up with a safe way. And if you have a question, someone else probably has that same question. How far do we bend forward when you squat? So I'm guessing you're meaning the torso, how far your torso bends forward when you squat? Was that? Yes. Okay. It looks like I'm still pinned. So the bend forward of the torso, as long as it's from those hips, the goal is the bending forward is so you don't fall down. So if I stay straight up and I bend my knees, eventually the weight of my hips are going to knock me back. So the bending forward is to counterbalance the weight of your hips. So I like to think you're kind of creating this 90-degree angle here from your torso to your thigh. It's just that I'm in this direction versus 90 degrees here. So I think that's usually a nice rule of thumb, is to bend forward approximately at that 90 degrees. You can bend forward less if your arms are forward because you'll have more weight. Right, the arms create a lever so that, or if you have a weight in front of you, you don't have to bend as far forward. So the torso bending forward is really to create a counterbalance for the legs. And so it just depends on the size of your body. But I like to think approximately creating a 90-degree bend from the thigh bone to your torso is a good place to start. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
I was overbending.
And that's also okay. That's okay to try that way, see how it feels. Every body is different. And there are situations where that's going to be maybe needed. If you're trying to pick something up off the floor, and we're thinking functionally, okay, I'm trying to pick up this block off the floor. I might not actually be able to reach it if I go 90. So I'm going to have to bend forward more to pick it up. So there are times when it's absolutely appropriate to do more. Just depends on what you're training for, I suppose. Any other questions or feelings, reflections? Everyone remember what I said you should do this week? Last week was the twists. This week, no?
Squats.
Squats. Good. Yes, do some squats today. I was going to say, oh man, maybe I'm talking too fast.
Well, thank you so much, Adra. Thank you as always for these classes. And thank you for everyone who joined and participated. If you would like to keep the conversations going from today or start new ones with other people in our GoGo community, you can join our Facebook group. And we just put a link in the meeting chat about that. But you're going to receive all of that in a follow-up email to you. It's going to have the recording from today. So if you want to go back, do some moves at your own pace, you can do that. We also have a survey in the chat. We would love your feedback. And we're so happy that you were able to join us today, and hopefully we'll see you next Thursday. Next Thursday will be chair yoga.